Right, it's getting serious. The sleeves are coming up. Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about binge eating and how I pretty much overcame it. I should point out, I am by no means a specialist, a professional. I've got a degree in geography, so you're really trusting just my own experience here. I like to think I do know what I'm talking about and I do have some good things to say. I'm not a specialist. That's what people seem to say in these sorts of videos, so might as well say it. My experience with binge eating, I came from a place of restriction where I would restrict every day, so I wasn't eating enough calories. What would happen is I would only go a certain amount of time until I just cave in and end up eating everything in sight until I felt physically sick. And then I just wouldn't be hungry for a whole day after because I ate so much and it was a ridiculous amount. Because I had that habit of binge eating, if I felt emotional or like I needed comfort, I would fall to that. So it wasn't always just about restriction for me. I'll start off with what is binge eating. Binge eating is when you lose control over eating and you consume a lot more food than you want or need. And it's in a very short period of time, to the point where you feel uncomfortably full and or sick. Binge eating is different to overeating. Overeating can just be eating too much, which we all do, that's normal. Go a little bit mad at Christmas, you overeat, that's normal. But binge eating where you just feel like you need to eat it all because it's not going to be there tomorrow, that's different. We've talked about what binge eating is and what causes it. I think the biggest cause of binge eating is restriction. Whether it be you're not eating enough food, so your calorie intake isn't high enough for what your body needs, or you're dieting and you're trying to lose weight. Is it that you're not eating enough calories, or is it just that your mind knows you're on a diet and you've said you're not going to eat chocolate for the next month? Even if you are eating enough calories, you might not be allowing yourself calories that you want. You might be really trying to get into health as much as you can, or you might be trying to really improve your gut health. In doing that, you're not eating chocolate, you're not eating fast food, but these are the foods you'll often binge on because they're the ones you tell yourself you can't have. When you restrict, you're a lot more likely to become obsessed with food, to watch food videos online, more interested in what other people are eating. I would scroll through Instagram just looking at food that I can one day eat, but because I wasn't allowing myself to have it that day, I was becoming obsessed to the point where I would eventually give in and just eat until I can't eat anymore. I'm sure if you are watching this video you know what binge eating is anyway, so we'll get to how I stopped binge eating in a second. I do just think binge eating is a mental issue. I also think it becomes a habit. If it's what you're used to, if you feel that urge and you give into it, it's a habit. It's just what you know. Your brain goes into autopilot and as soon as you feel the urge to binge, you do it. I think you can stop binge eating by breaking a habit. Not for all people, some people it is purely mental. How I stopped binge eating. First things first, you've got to make sure you're eating enough food. If you are trying to lose weight, but you want to stop binge eating, I would suggest you sort out the binge eating first before you try to lose weight because they're sort of counteractive. You can lose weight while eating all the foods that you love and enjoy, and that will help you stop binge eating. If you do want to lose weight, don't go on too little calories. Have a small calorie deficit and make the weight loss over a longer period of time because it will help you long term. So you've got to eat enough calories that your body needs. And you've got to allow all the foods within your diet. You can't eat enough calories of vegetables, chicken and rice, sugar-free snack bars, and expect to be satisfied. I think that's still a way of restricting yourself from the things you really want. So if you're craving a dessert and you grab a low-calorie chocolate snack bar, you're not going to feel satisfied and you probably will end up binging on that Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream because that's the thing you're fancying. By including less nutritional foods, junk food if you will, in your diet, it will stop you from binging on it more often. I think that's a point to make as well. Maybe stop referring to foods as junk. Like, don't refer to them as good and bad. Then you give food moral value. If you've eaten a bad food that day, you might feel a bit of guilt, and guilt can cause you to binge eat. You want to have a diet that is giving you nutritional value, that's giving you enough calories to fuel you for your day, that involves all foods that you genuinely want to eat. So you don't want to have any mental or physical restriction going on. And even if to start with you might feel guilt for eating certain foods, the more you do it, the less guilt you'll feel. And you can play a part in not making yourself feel guilty. Although you might initially feel it inside you to begin with, you can tell yourself, I'm allowed this chocolate bar, I'm allowed this bit of toast. You can rewire your brain into not feeling guilty. So what if you're eating enough food, you're including all foods in your diet, you're not being too harsh on yourself and not implementing guilt for if you eat less nutritionally dense foods, what if you still end up binging? Good question. At this point, I like to think it's then a habit or emotional binging, or you're triggered by something and that causes you to binge. You've got to figure out what sparks the urge to binge for you. If I'm alone in the house, it's rainy and I've got nothing to do, I want to binge eat. So you've just got to realise what causes your temptations. It's all well and good trying to never be alone in the house, but that's just not going to happen. I think it's better off to just face the urges and fight them. And that first time that you resist, you will feel so proud afterwards. And it will be the most difficult to begin with. But then the second time, it'll get easier. The third time will get easier, and then you'll just keep doing it until the urge completely goes away. I'm not at that point yet. I still get urges. I had one today, which is why I filmed this video. To distract myself and make sure I didn't do it. It's so much easier to do now than it was 6 months ago. One quote that helps me: would you rather sit with the urge to binge eat, or would you rather sit with the feeling having just binge eaten? That feeling is undescribable because you feel physically awful and mentally awful. I mean, you'll know if you've had it before. So, things I do to fight the urge. I tell myself that quote that I just told you. One thing that I find helpful, I Google binge eating because I end up watching videos about what goes on in the brain to cause it, and I spend 10 minutes doing that. By the end of it, I feel like I don't want to do it anymore. It gives me time to process the fact that I don't actually want to do that. I am full. I've just had lunch and I've had a snack as well, and I don't want any more food. It's an instinct in my brain, but that instinct isn't right. If you can tell someone that you have the urge to binge eat, often binge eating is not talked about because people who have it feel shame. They feel like people will think they're animals. I feel like I should say it in a nicer way, but I mean, that's how I felt. Like, you feel literally disgusting. You hide wrappers, you go out and buy new food to replace the food you ate. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I speak to people who are close to me. So I would tell my mum I feel like I might want to binge eat today, and she would help me by talking about it, like asking why I want to do that. Obviously you can distract yourself, go for a walk. I feel like these are like the more known things of how to not binge eat, is distract yourself. I'm distracting myself now by filming a video about binge eating. This is making me feel empowered. If I were to go on a walk, I'd just be thinking about wanting to binge eat still. I think do something which genuinely will take your mind off of it. Do something that you're passionate about. I like making videos. I find it really fun. I will get enjoyment. I'll feel empowerment from that. I won't feel empowerment from going for a walk. I'll just be thinking about how I want to binge eat the whole time. I'm not going to lie. Or if I went out for a coffee with friends, I'd be thinking about how much cake I want to eat while I'm there. Getting out of where you are is helpful, to be honest. So go upstairs and do a face mask. Go buy a craft to do. I used to do a paint by numbers every time I felt like I was gonna binge eat. One of those little diamond paintings, I used to do that. It's therapeutic for me, so you've got to find the things that work for you. Going out for a walk doesn't work for me. If I was by a beach, maybe it would, because I could run into the water and go for a swim. That's very distracting. Go skinny dipping in the local pond. No, don't do that. I would say don't hoard food. You want to be able to keep chocolate in your house because you want to eat it if you want it, but don't hoard it. Don't have like 1,000,000 bars of chocolate because that's a recipe for disaster. No one needs 1,000,000 bars of chocolate. You know what? I will try and get up a photo of when I used to hoard chocolate. A lot of the chocolate would go out of date because I wouldn't eat it unless I was binge eating. If you binge eat now, all of that food, you could enjoy it with friends, family, you could make memories from it. That's what food is supposed to be about. Obviously, you need it to live, but it's more than that as well. It's like memories, it's fun, it's enjoyable, cooking. You don't want food to be mixed with shame. You know what? I think I want to end this video on a positive note as well. If you believe you can do it and you can stop binge eating and you can eat to fuel your body, then you can do it. Just have faith in yourself. Envision a future where you eat like exactly how you want to eat. Lots of healthy foods, you treat yourself every now and then, and binge eating doesn't even cross your mind anymore. You can do that. It might take a while to get there. It might take a year, it might take months, it might take 2 years, but you can do it. I haven't done it yet. I am making progress, and that's all that matters. Even if it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Don't let that 1 step back send you 10 step backs. Does that make sense? Anyway, I hope this was helpful to at least one person. If not, it was helpful to me because it helped me stop binge eating. So, that's all. See you later.